Imagine throwing rocks in all four directions, throwing one straight up into the sky, and then trying to fill that massive space with solid gold. Even that much wealth would not be enough to buy one single diamond. That is how the value of the Kohinoor was described to Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the Lion of Punjab. He had built a Sikh empire so vast and militarily capable that it was considered functionally invincible. Yet, despite ruling a kingdom that stretched across the horizon, Ranjit Singh remained fixated on a single, unpossessed object. His regional supremacy was absolute, but his collection was incomplete without the world's most famous stone. This is the paradox of a ruler who has conquered the physical world. Once every border is mapped and every enemy defeated, the only thing left to acquire is the mathematically impossible, a stone whose value exists outside the bounds of currency. The Kohinoor arrived in Lahore trailing a well-documented curse. The record showed a brutal pattern. The Kakatiya, Khilji, Mughal, Persian, and Afghan empires all reached the heights of power, only to collapse immediately after acquiring the diamond. This wasn't a secret. The data was available to every ruler on that list. Yet, time and again, brilliant, rational strategists looked at the wreckage of the previous dynasty and convinced themselves they were the exception. The danger of the Kohinoor had nothing to do with magic. It worked by preying on hubris. It tempted powerful men into believing their own strength was enough to rewrite a history of 100% failure. The cycle began for Ranjit Singh when Wafa Begum arrived at the court of Lahore with a desperate proposition. Her husband, the former ruler Shah Shuja, was being held captive by the Governor of Kashmir. She offered the Maharaja the Kohinoor if he would use his army to set her husband free. The Sikh army moved with brutal efficiency. They crushed the opposition in Kashmir and brought Shah Shuja back to Lahore as promised. But with his freedom secured, Shuja's cooperation vanished. He began making excuses, delaying the transfer of the diamond, and eventually denied even having it in his possession. Shuja's deception stripped away the strategic nature of the deal. The diamond had become the center of a personal standoff, and Ranjit Singh was now determined to take it by force. Ranjit Singh applied ruthless diplomatic pressure, eventually surrounding Shah Shuja's palace with a ring of armed guards to cut him off from the world. On June 1, 1813, Shah Shuja finally surrendered. He handed over the glowing stone to the Lion of Punjab. Wafa Begum delivered a final warning as the stone changed hands. She said the diamond's true price was power, and it could only be won and kept by the strength of the sword. Ranjit Singh ignored the warning and had the diamond set into a gold armband. Whenever he rode his horse through Lahore, the sun's rays bounced off the diamond, reflecting a light he believed signaled the permanence of his reign. By physically attaching the diamond to his own body, Ranjit Singh unknowingly fastened the weight of centuries of failure directly to the heart of the Sikh Empire. By 1839, the warrior king was bedridden. Paralysis had taken his body, and he lay in his chambers hovering between life and death. In his final days, he began to reconcile his own failing health with the history of the stone. He saw the same ruinous pattern that had dismantled the Mughals and the Afghans, now taking root in his own palace. In a desperate final act, he ordered his ministers to donate the Kohinoor to the Jagannath Temple in Puri. He hoped that giving the stone to the gods would finally break the cycle of destruction. But his ministers refused to obey his dying wish. They argued that the diamond was the pride of Punjab, and they were too blinded by its prestige to let it go. Ranjit Singh had recognized the danger, but the Kohinoor had already infected his successors. They had chosen to keep the prize, unaware they were keeping the curse. On June 27, 1839, the Maharaja died. His death acted as the trigger, unleashing chaos upon the royal court. Within 4 years, his successors were either poisoned or stabbed to death. The internal stability of the empire vanished in a bloodbath of royal infighting. This internal collapse left the Sikh Empire defenseless. It fell into the hands of the British, who took the Kohinoor and placed it at the center of their own crown.
The Kohinoor's history suggests that it possesses the power to amplify the greed of those who hold it. It serves as a reminder that the things we are most proud to own often end up owning us.